Dale Jr. talks charters, Kyle Busch wrecks at Indy, and Dana White is talking electric cars. Aren't you excited we're talking about electric cars? Coming up next. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, let's get this one out of the way first. Dale Jr. on the Dale Jr. Download said that they're still at the table talking about charters, talking about becoming a part-time owner. He said they had talked with several teams. Nothing had materialized yet, so speculation is running wild. To me, nobody actually knows anything other than Dale Jr. is still at the table trying to get in a charter, somehow get into the Cup Series. So all kinds of theories out there. I feel like nobody really knows anything, but the most popular of these theories of nobody knowing anything is JTG Doherty. Does he become part owner with JTG Doherty, whatever that's going to become next season, with everybody moving around and moving on, or whatever, however that works out over there. The other one is, if RCR gets that third charter, would Dale Jr. somehow have something to do with that third charter? Or does Rick Hendrick downsize to 3 teams early instead of, using whatever leniency NASCAR is going to give them with the 4, them and Joe Gibbs Racing with the 4-car teams before the grandfather wears out and they have to go down? Does Dale Jr. Jump in on that 4th car over there? So all kinds of speculation out there, all kinds of pretty much any Chevrolet team. Go ahead and link it with Dale Jr. That's pretty much the speculation thus far, but honestly, I don't think anybody knows anything substantial, so take it for what it's worth when those stories come out there. The other big story of the day, of course, is Dana White said he is close to signing a deal for an electric series for NASCAR. I want to get this out of the way before I jump into this story, though. This will be a completely separate series from the Cup Series. The Cup Series will not be electric. This is a whole different series. Like the Xfinity Series is different from the Cup Series. Like the Truck Series is different from the Cup Series. So I wanted to get that out of the way just to save the comments in the comment section a little bit. Now let's get into the story. This story from on3.com, which goes by 5 Goats on the header, so I'm not sure exactly what it's called. But anyway, Nick Costco with the story. Dana White teases impending deal with NASCAR. Dana White is quite the businessman, and now he's about to dip his toes into NASCAR in a unique way. White teased that NASCAR will get into the electric car business, and he'll be at the forefront. The UFC president plans to meet with NASCAR brass after the 4th of July this summer. So a couple of things to go over here from that first quote. Dana White, UFC president, he took the UFC from a very niche thing to this global thing that is recognized by a lot of people. So he's really good as a businessman. It's interesting that he sees this as an opportunity. EVs right now are a niche sport, basically just like the UFC was when it first came out, but he apparently sees some value in it. The other thing I wonder about with this deal is, even though the EV market is a niche market, there are tons of manufacturers in that niche market, and which one or ones of those manufacturers would be interested in this? You would have to imagine that those conversations have already been had, which begs the next question that I have about this whole deal. What even kind of cars would they be? Would they be cars? Would they be SUVs? Would they be electric trucks? Would they be crossovers? So that's an interesting question, because how would you differentiate this EV racing series from other EV racing series like Formula E? We're actually about to talk about it, the Nitro Circus deal that they do over there. There's all kinds of off-road racing EV series and things like that. So how would you differentiate it from them? What type of automobiles or vehicles, electric vehicles, I guess, would you use in this scenario? Also, what kind of tracks would you go to? So lots of questions there, not a whole lot of answers. It was a big tease, but not a whole lot of information. But he's really good at taking niche sports and making them really huge sports. I mean, look at Power Slap. Like, he's made that some type of brand, and I can't even imagine anything I would much rather not watch than Power Slap. But he has made that a brand. He has found a market for that. So can he do the same thing with the EV market, even though it's niche? Can he work his magic again and make the NASCAR EV deal a bigger deal than other EV series like, Formula E and stuff like that? Article goes on to say, so we own Nitro Circus and we own Travis Pastrana's Nitro Cross, which is electric car racing. White said on the Flagrant podcast, after the 4th of July, I do the 4th of July at my house in Maine. I'm flying to NASCAR and we're doing a deal with NASCAR. We're going to be the electric series for NASCAR. We're working on that deal right now. Welcome to Nitrocross, the next frontier of motorsports, where the adrenaline doesn't just pump, it soars. The website reads, initially envisioned by Travis Pastrana, we have redefined the very essence of racing. No longer confined to just pavement or gravel, our races are battles waged on groundbreaking, sky-touching tracks designed to unleash the full power of world-class, high-performance electric vehicles. Nitrocross isn't here to save the environment, just race it. We're the most dynamic and electrifying racing league in the world. We defy gravity, break norms, and consistently deliver controlled chaos at its finest. So a few things there. You're going to have Travis Pastrana probably also involved in this, so I feel like that's going to raise the excitement factor. That's going to separate it and make it different from other racing series. And the second thing from that quote that I found interesting, they're focused on making it a racing series. They're not necessarily out here trying to save the environment. And I think that that's going to go a really long way to helping this type of niche series get a foothold, get some type of grounding, get some type of grip over the other electric racing series in its market that it would have to be competing with. And my final thought on it, because I know everybody gets excited when we're talking about electric cars and NASCAR. I know this is the story that you really want to hear about. But the other thing about it that I think is interesting is, would this be the series that NASCAR talked about running basically before a Cup Series race? It would sort of be like an attachment to a Cup Series weekend. If you went there, you go to the NASCAR Cup Series race, and right before the Cup Series race starts, probably right after the concerts and all that stuff on the infield, go out, you would have like this really short, because you know the battery life is still not great on these things for racing. You would have this really short sort of like dash series. I could definitely envision that happening before the Cup Series race. I think that would probably be the best way in the early years to promote it. So yeah, major news breaking today, and the other two stories that wanted to throw out there. Kyle Busch wrecked in Indianapolis. I mean, he's having a bad luck season. More bad luck here, so nothing more to really add to that other than he wrecked at the Goodyear tire test at Indianapolis. And Todd Gilliland signed a multi-year deal with Front Row Motorsports, so he will be there for multiple years. They've locked in one guy. We're still waiting to see who the other two guys that they get over there in those cars will be. Stewart-Haas Racing scenario, all that stuff. Until that stuff settles down, there's going to be all kinds of speculation as to who's going where. And the previously mentioned Dale Jr. story, those are probably going to be the two big stories. Try not to talk too much about the Dale Jr. deal, because I feel like as time goes on, that's going to become, and also the Stewart-Haas Racing deal, that's just going to become like the Kyle Busch scenario when he was a free agent, where it just gets talked about over and over again. So trying to avoid doing that, but I did talk about both of them today, did want to acknowledge them. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you made it this far, would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll just keep making these things. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you all as well. And if you got a question, comment, leave it down in the comment section. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.